Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
That's a pill with two screens and it's open and you gotta swallow it.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host today. My name is Wes, and I am here with Caleb.
Hey, you never get to go first, man. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Landon, he's off vacationing somewhere on a beach watching billions of dolphins or something. I don't know. Something.
That's why I got to go first. Okay.
That's why you got...
I see how it is.
That's how it is. Because he's on vacation.
Yep.
He's out, you know. I guess we'll give him a vacation. He's shown up every time we've had a podcast. Let's be real.
That's right, kids. Or listener, the kids are running the show now. This is gonna go super well. So if the audio sounds like crap, rest assured, it's probably our fault, not Landon's.
Probably.
Like, let's be honest. He gave us explicit instructions, and we're probably still screwing something up. But, oh well.
We're going to give it a try. We're going to let us hooligans get away with this one today. You know what? We've got a lot to cover because we missed out last week. So we're just going to kind of dive right into this. We're going to probably skim through quite a bit of stuff. So let's go ahead and let's start off. Hey, 2 weeks ago, Microsoft had an event, hardware event. Well, they had quite a few things happen. I want to go ahead and talk about the hardware event for Surface, the stuff that they had released and announced. So they went ahead and they announced the Surface Pro 9 on there. So the big thing about this for the Surface Pro 9 is you actually get the 12th gen Intel, and they also said that there is a version of it that can be with a 5G modem. So everything else is pretty close to the same on there. You can upgrade from an i7 or go from an i5 to an i7. No new real aesthetics or anything like that. It's still Surface. If you are in the Surface ecosystem, you will enjoy this. It's a nice little upgrade. You can get because both models basically feature 13-inch 2880 by 1920 display, dynamic refresh rates, things like that. They can be configured to have 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM and a terabyte of storage, things like that. So they're pretty decent. They're pretty decent things. If you are, like I said, if you are in the ecosystem, this is something that's going to be really good. You are paying it's kind of weird to say this, the Microsoft tax, if you will.
Yeah.
Because usually Apple has a tax, everyone has their own tax, but just because this is a Microsoft hardware, you are going to pay. If you were to take the specs of this and try and build your own, you could probably get something a lot cheaper.
I feel like with the Surface, really what you're paying is the form factor tax. Like, it's all of the engineering and the effort that goes into sticking these things into a specific chassis. And it's got to be quite a bit of effort because basically nobody else really does it. Like, it's kind of just Microsoft trying to pack a display and all of the internals into the same chassis, where everybody else is all like, look, no, we'll put the internals in the chassis down here where we can put, like, it's easier to dissipate heat, like, through the bottom of the thing and blow it out the back. And the display is not a problem. And Microsoft is just like, we're just making it difficult for ourselves. And especially with 12th gen chips, those things run hot. Like, those are hot. Even the low end, like the lower powered, like the ones that don't use as much power, they're still pretty toasty CPUs. So I feel like it's less of a Microsoft tax than it is a form factor tax. But yeah, you definitely pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you were to look at other things or build it yourself, you'd probably get it cheaper. But I guess that's why I kind of said Microsoft tax, just because the form factor, like you said.
Yeah.
They say it does say that the graphite, sapphire, and forest colors are only available on Wi-Fi SKUs. So the 5G SKUs don't really come with any other colors, is what it was saying. The prices start at for the regular Surface Pro 9 starts at $999, and the one with the 5G starts at $1,299. A little bit of a jump, but also that can increase more as you put a higher, more RAM, more things, more stuff. Obviously, that will. You also will have to buy the keyboard and the Surface Slim Pen 2. They are sold separately as well.
That's right. So. That's where they get you. That's where they get you. Oh, you want a keyboard for your laptop? No, that costs extra.
Yep. So they are claiming that obviously you'll get faster speeds. The percentage they did say, let's see, faster speeds, more battery life. They've been saying that it's they're promising up to 15.5 hours of battery life on the Surface Pro 9.
Okay.
And then up to 19 hours on the Surface Pro. Well, let's see. Or I'm sorry, 15 and a half hours battery life on the Surface Pro 9. So they said that it's up from the Surface Pro 8 on there.
Yeah.
So
so
everything's kind of increasing. Things are doing good there. Like they also said the regular Surface Pro 9 has 2 USB-C ports with USB 4, Thunderbolt 4, while the 5G model has 2 USB 3.2 ports without the Thunderbolt. So,
right.
So that's kind of the big one there for the Surface Pro 9. Good, looks good, very nice looking. If that's what you're into, go for it.
Yeah.
Let's move over to the Surface Laptop 5. This one is featuring the same 12th gen Intel Core, the i7, the i7 and the i5. Just like in the Surface Pro 9. They do say that it is over 50% more powerful than its predecessor.
Okay.
That's what it says. You do get a choice between 13.5 and 15 inches options that are available for the Surface Laptop. One thing that's really interesting about this is they did not do any AMD CPUs this year.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they kind of went with all Intel, which is weird to me because, I mean, their Xbox is AMD. A lot of things they do are for AMD, but then the Surface Laptop, they didn't. So
strange.
Some partnership or some kind of, I don't know, something.
I mean, Intel's 12th gen chips are nothing to sneeze at, so it's not like that's necessarily a problem. I suspect what probably happened here is that Intel had more money to throw at Microsoft than AMD did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Probably some contract or something like, hey, here's an extra little bit to put this in here.
Yeah.
Let's see. So it does say that with these models, they come with Dolby Vision support. They do say that there's no 120 hertz refresh rate though on these screens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 60's fine.
Yeah, I mean, for most things. And let's be honest, it's the Surface Laptop. Nobody's playing games on the Surface Laptop. They don't care about high refresh rate. They're doing office work.
Yeah.
They want the most comfortable, portable office experience, and that's fine. And 60 hertz is great for that.
Right.
They care more about having extra vertical real estate than they do about high refresh rate. And the Surface Laptop is one of the few laptops that actually gives you that. So, you know.
Yep. So the Surface Laptop 5 will start at $1,999 for the 13.5 inch model. And then for the 15, it's going to be $1,299. Both versions are available to pre-order, and they will start shipping October 25th. Next thing they announced was the Surface Studio 2 Plus.
What? No. Microsoft.
The Studio. Yes. You know what's crazy to think about is this is the successor to the Surface Studio 2, which was released back in 2018.
Uh-huh.
So
I remember.
This is the 2 Plus.
Oh my God.
You know what's also interesting is there are no design changes.
No. Wow. Okay.
They did include the 11th gen Intel Core of the i7 CPU.
Did they update the graphics at least, please? Or is
they say that it's the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060
laptop
GPUs in it. So
good. Because I'm sorry. I remember when the Surface Studio first launched, the thing that baffled me the most was that in the era of the 10,000 series Nvidia cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 1080, the 1080 Ti, those were the kings at the time. And they shipped this thing with a 970 or something like that. Like that was the
generation
GPU
before.
And we were all like, what? That's super weird. Surely they'll update it. And then they did, like to like a 1070 or something like that in the 2, right? In the second generation. And
right.
because AMD wasn't competing with Nvidia at all at the time, and Nvidia kind of just sat on the 10,000 series cards for ages, they kind of caught up for a little while. But then, yeah, the RTX cards launched, and then the 3000 series, and we're just like super deep into this whole RTX thing now. And I guess it's good that they're updating and adding this stuff. But my question, Microsoft, is still, as it has always been, when can I get this thing as a standalone monitor pen tablet? What the heck, guys? Like,
there's no news on that yet. There's no news. Yep. Even I was like, man, that monitor.
Seriously. That's what this device is. The device is a screen. The fact that they decided to put a computer along with it was actually kind of boneheaded. I wish they would have just launched the monitor, and because that thing, like the performance of it, from what I understand, is outstanding, and it is 100% of the time hampered by the computer hardware that it's strapped to.
Yep.
Everybody I know that wants one of these things wants to hook it up to like either a really powerful PC or a Mac Pro or Mac Studio or something like that. Like, I don't get it, Microsoft. I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, with the faster CPU and all the new stuff that's got on there, do you want to know what it starts at?
Oh dear.
Price?
It's $2,700.
The Surface Studio 2 Plus starts at $4,499. And it will start shipping on October 25th. So you can pre-order today, Caleb.
Microsoft. That was not creamer that you put in your coffee. That was crack cocaine. What the? Look, the GPU shortage and all of that nonsense that happened over the pandemic, that's over, Microsoft. Did you hear? Computer prices have come down quite a bit. Just because Nvidia hasn't gotten the memo doesn't mean you need to not do it either. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay. That's...
Yep.
It still makes no sense to buy that thing, because you can buy like a headless Mac Studio and a really big Wacom tablet or one of their competitors for about the same price. And you'll get a faster computer out of the deal, probably.
I mean, I guess notable little updates and features it has. It does have the Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, Dolby Atmos speakers. And it does say it supports up to 3 4K UHD 60 Hz external displays via the Thunderbolt 4 ports.
Yeah, which is great, except that Mac Studio I was talking about will do 3 6K external display.
Yeah.
What the heck? That's okay. Well, that happened, I guess.
Yeah. So
I'm still very confused by this machine. Like, I want it to make sense because I think the screen is really cool, but dadgummit.
Yeah. So those were the main things that they had announced. They did announce some other stuff like an audio dock, presenter remote, things like that. If you want to look more into it, you can see if that's something you would like. But those are the main Surface things that happen. Like I said, overall, other than the Surface Studio, the other two, if you're in this ecosystem, you're gonna love it. More battery power, more later gen for 12th gen cores, things like that.
Yeah.
It should be okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing big that that really, but it's okay.
And I feel like, people that buy Surfaces are really only looking for Surfaces because, like I said, nobody else is really making those devices. It's kind of just the Surface. And so, that's fine. I'm glad that they're getting the device that they want. And the Surface laptop, generally speaking, reviews quite well. Like, people like the design of it, the fit and finish. They like that it's lightweight and it's very portable, but it's still reasonably powerful. It's good to type on, has a high quality trackpad, and the screen like ratio and stuff is really good for doing your business word processing, Excel type, database nonsense and whatever it is that you're doing with your white collar job. So, it tends to review quite well. And so I feel like, there's probably definitely people out there that want it. But Studio, man, how many of those can they possibly be selling? I feel like what happened is they made a bunch in 2018 and it took them until now to sell through that inventory. And that's why we're getting an update.
That's what it was. Finally, we can reveal this.
I just don't. Oh man, Microsoft.
Maybe that's what it was.
I mean, the timing is also not super great either with like, hey, here's got a 3070 in it. Just ignore the fact that 4000 series cards are coming out from Nvidia. Pretend that's not happening.
Yeah. But I felt like you said, we've talked before, the studio's always been that year behind.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, so, and like everything else is getting the 12th gen chips. The studio gets an 11th gen chip, which is actually super ironic because also like a week after these were announced, Intel may have said something about the 13th generation chips, by which I mean they shipped them. So everything is actually a year behind in the Surface lineup, except the Studio, which is 2 years behind on the processor. Yeah. So I don't. Wow. Good times. Good times.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay stuff. If you're in the ecosystem, that's what you're looking for.
Yep.
You'll be happy. I mean,
unless you really want a Studio to make sense, because that still doesn't, but oh well.
No. But maybe they know something we don't.
Maybe.
Or they have money and we don't.
I guess.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Something that also was briefly mentioned during that same week was Microsoft is partnering with Meta on the metaverse. A lot of people have been talking about this. Basically what this is they are integrating Microsoft 365 with all of Office features and the Xbox Game Pass app into Meta. It's just a screen that you have in your your virtual reality.
Yeah.
And just
I think it is with the launch of the new Meta Quest Pro. What do they call their new headset? I can't remember. I
think it's just the Meta Quest VR, I think. Isn't it?
No, I think it's the Meta Quest Pro or something. It basically, listener, it's the Meta Quest 2, except with super beefed up internals and a way nicer set of cameras for the tracking purposes of the thing, right? So it's still a standalone headset that does, the whole that sort of thing. But I feel like with the launch of that thing, you can now comfortably say it is an augmented reality headset, because instead of having crappy, and I mean, as a Quest owner, crappy black and white cameras that you use to for the, the overlay view that allows you to see obstacles in your play space and that sort of thing. Those things were kind of useful to have, but they're just trash in terms of actual image quality. This thing ships with actually very nice, high quality 4K cameras that are stereo and placed approximately where your eyes would be, so that they can feed you an augmented reality. They can feed you a camera view that looks pretty darn good to your eye, and then they can do augmented reality overlays and stuff inside of that. This actually launched it was the day before the Microsoft event or something like that. So, news, listener, this new Meta Quest headset. And I did see a demo of the stuff that Microsoft was kind of throwing out with this, hey, you can do all of these things with this new Meta Quest thing in an augmented reality space. And the way that they were kind of doing it was, essentially you would have your laptop or whatever, and then you would wirelessly pair your headset to it, and then it would give you additional screen real estate as an augmented reality set, like bank of giant monitors behind your laptop and stuff like that you could interact with like it's a normal computer. And it did look pretty cool. I gotta say, like, the technology is definitely super impressive, and I am very intrigued to see where this stuff goes. I will say that Microsoft, partnering with Meta for this makes a lot of sense, given that where Meta is at in the development of this technology and their proven track record with launching successful products that can use it. But I will also say that Meta is still the last company on the planet I actually want doing this work, and that if Microsoft had partnered with literally anyone else, I would be more excited about it.
Yeah.
Just because I am so nervous about the concept of Facebook owning the virtual reality space, like headspace that everybody ends up in. I've seen the movie Ready Player One. That's what it would be. Okay. Nothing good can come from this. So yeah, I mean, color me interested to see what Apple comes up with next year. And I would love for HTC, please guys, can we get like a Vive that actually people want to buy? Maybe that would be great. I'd love that. Steam, could you stop? I mean, I know the Steam Deck's really cool and you're making a lot of money with it right now. And I'm sure that the Steam, whatever your headset was called, I can't even remember what that the Index, the Valve Index.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the Index didn't necessarily make all that much money, but like, could you do a standalone, like you take a Steam Deck and pair it with an Index and like just make that be an augmented reality headset? I don't know. I just want anybody besides Meta doing this right now. So yeah. Like, cool technology. Microsoft seems to have implemented it pretty well. So I'm not throwing shade at Microsoft, but just generally speaking, this whole thing kind of has me concerned.
Yeah. I mean, because of Meta and Facebook. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what that was. If you want to see that event or anything, you can definitely get on YouTube, take a look at it and whatnot, and anything else that they had announced, those little things for the Surface event. Speaking of YouTube, we're going to kind of move over there. If you are a YouTube Premium Family Plan subscriber, be prepared in November. The price is going to go from $17.99 to $22.99 per month.
Yeah.
That sucks. I'm actually a subscriber to the YouTube Premium. So,
yeah.
Dang it.
Yep. Oh, well. I mean, I feel like they were kind of toying around with the idea of maybe restricting YouTube's 4K streaming to premium subscribers. I feel like if they had announced they were doing that and then announced the price increase, more people would be pissed. Right? Yeah. Because they would see that as like, oh, you're trying to get more money out of us because we want 4K or something like that. Like, it actually makes a certain amount of sense to lock 4K behind a premium subscription paywall. But introducing both of those, both that and the price increase at the same time, would definitely come across wrong. So maybe it's a good thing that they decided not to do the 4K restriction. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, maybe this is why they didn't do that. Because they knew the price increase was coming and the optics on that would be really bad. So they're just going to hold off for now.
For now. Yeah. So, speaking of other subscriptions, I figured I'd go ahead and note this. Netflix. So their big thing they discussed was account sharing crackdown plans. They also did discuss cloud gaming on there. They are more interested in bringing more cloud gaming. So there's that. But the thing I thought was interesting was the sharing of your Netflix account. They have pretty much said the people that do not live in your household will need to use their own accounts to watch Netflix. The company is now already going to use IP addresses, device IDs, and account activity from devices signed into the same Netflix account to detect these devices. But they thought that they wanted to do a thoughtful approach to this monetized account sharing, and will begin to roll this out more broadly starting in early 2023, is they have a new profile transfer tool. So you can now transfer a profile to its own account.
That is a Band-Aid on a gushing wound, Netflix.
Right?
I just want
thoughtful approach. That I want to put that in quotes. Thoughtful approach to this monetizing account sharing. So
I just got to get it out there. There is nothing on Netflix that I feel like it's worth paying their subscription price for. Like, the only reason I watch anything on Netflix is because I wasn't paying for it, quite frankly. So that's okay. There's a couple of shows that, like, you know, season 3 of The Witcher, I'm interested in that. Season 2 of Arcane, I'm absolutely stoked for that. But neither of those are coming, like, soon. So I'm probably just going to, like, sign out and delete the Netflix app off of my phone and I guess just pirate them when they
yep.
I don't know, Netflix them. this is not what I wanted to do, but okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, at some point in time they're going to do what everyone else has, like all of the other production companies have done, and come out with some kind of statement about how piracy is hurting them. It's hurting them and it's hurting the show makers and stuff like that. And, like, on the one hand, I believe that, yes, it is hurting the people who make good quality entertainment, and those people should be rewarded for their efforts. And if I was confident that the extra money I was paying was actually going to help them make more awesome content, then I would pay it. But I don't have that confidence, particularly with Netflix. Like, I have no confidence in you, Netflix, because you take the money that you are making, which is literally just billions of dollars hand over fist, and you throw it at a lot of garbage, just a ton of garbage shows that just fill the service. And like, none of the stuff I want to watch is, like, on there, like, anymore. All the shows have been taken off and moved off to their own streaming services like Disney or Hulu or whatever. And I don't know. It's a bad situation for Netflix to be in. I get that, because they're under obligation to try and, you know, like, boost their revenue and boost their subscriber counts and stuff like that. They got to figure out some way to do that. But I feel like attacking the people that are that are sharing accounts to watch your stuff is not the way to do that. I feel like if you want me to pay to help support the people making content on your platform, there are other ways that you could do that. Like, if you were to release physical, like, box copies, collector's editions of shows like Arcane, I would pay for that. Like, $60 to $100 for the first season in a box of Blu-rays. Absolutely. 100%. I'm there. Because, like, that show honestly ranks up with shows like, I mean, I'm a giant Trekkie, so yeah, shows like The Next Generation and frickin' Avatar: The Last Airbender, in terms of, like, the quality that it is. It's that good. And I would 100%.
That is a good show.
It's so good.
We've been enjoying it. We've been enjoying it. We're, let's see. Where are we? Last episode we got to was when they were chasing, Zuko's sister was chasing them because Appa was shedding.
Oh, yes.
And, they were trying to sleep, but they kept finding, that one. So
yes, that is a good one. No, yeah. Oh, and see, I have a boxed copy of Avatar: The Last Airbender sitting on a shelf right over here, like, because that's how I feel about these shows, and I want to pay and support the creators of these shows and that sort of thing. So if Netflix were to do stuff like that, and yeah, obviously they would make some revenue off of it too, but I would be much more willing to make those kinds of payments that rather than pay a monthly subscription for a service that I barely ever use. I don't know.
I hadn't had Netflix for years. Gosh, so many years. And so I've recently subscribed to it for certain shows. So Avatar is one. And
you haven't watched it yet, but Arcane is another.
yeah, but like all these other shows that, I mean, okay, let's be real. I'm a goof. I love Adam Sandler stuff. That's all his stuff is on there.
Okay,
so,
yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm a sucker for him and his stupid humor. I really am. But, and so for years, I've got all this other stuff. I got to catch up on, Castlevania. I've got to, all these other things. So right now, I'm okay. Like, I'm like, yeah, I get this, but I'm not sharing my Netflix thing with anybody. So,
yeah.
But no, I get it.
Yep. See, and that's my thing is I'm pretty much caught up with everything on Netflix that I want to watch.
Yeah.
I guess, like season 2 of Shadow and Bone, like really interested in that, want to watch that. But if they're going to like freak out over me sharing a Netflix account with someone, then no, especially since like the person who's paying for Netflix that I'm sharing with is paying for like their full fat plan with 4K streaming on 4 simultaneous devices. It's a single dude. His household is not using 4 simultaneous streams, 4K streams. Like he absolutely can't do, because he lives, it's just him, So like, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. And I feel like, yeah, I'm not going to subscribe to Netflix. And he's going to be like, well, if I'm not sharing this with anyone, why the heck am I paying so much money for it? And he's going to downgrade his subscription, possibly kill it altogether and go to the ad-supported tier, which, I guess that's not killing it. That's just cheaper. But, I'm just saying, like, I feel like Netflix is going to end up losing money over this. So, anyways.
I mean, they've been
times.
up and down so much. But, yeah, we need to move on. We got a lot of stuff. But, so, yeah, that's kind of what's going on there with Netflix. I guess I'll save this one. This one, well, this is more of a gaming. I'll save this one for gaming. It's weird. It's a weird thing, so I'll save it for gaming. But we'll go ahead and move on.
Weird gaming stuff.
Well, it's not weird. It's just like I'm interested in your take on this because it's really interesting to me, and I'm really interested to see what. Because I don't. Okay, so so we're not talking about the Activision Blizzard, right?
Right.
We don't really talk. But there's one thing that came out of this that I'm like. Interesting. Like, okay. So but it's with, we're going to talk about it, right?
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. So we know that there's a big battle raging on right now with the CMA and Microsoft. That is the UK's, what is it? What does CMA stand for? Basically consumer, they're the ones that are looking at this Microsoft deal in the UK, and they want to make sure that basically their job is to look out for consumers and not for businesses.
Right.
That's what their job is. But one thing, so they're going into their phase 2 because they want to go in depth with this thing. But one thing that Microsoft has actually come out and said about this Activision Blizzard thing, which I found is interesting that I never thought of, was, let me bring this up. So Microsoft actually wants to create a next generation game store on iOS and Android. And they have said that they want this acquisition of Activision Blizzard to spearhead this effort. And that's why they're trying to get this for their own mobile game store on iOS and Android.
Are they talking about BattleNet? Is that
so? I think that it's really interesting because that's what they're saying, that they're like, so obviously, they're highlighting, it's funny because, Sony's the one complaining, but Microsoft's like, yeah, we know Sony's complaining, but what we're really after is iOS and Android right now because they want to make their own game store on both those platforms, and they want to spearhead, like I said, this is what they're saying. They want to take this on. And they think with Activision Blizzard, which include Diablo Immortal, Call of Duty Mobile, Candy Crush, all this mobile games, and they want to make their own app store on Android and iOS for these games.
What the?
Like, this is what was released. That's what they had said. And so that's why I was like, this is interesting. And I know it's different. And so I wish I had, like, let me see if I have a little bit more info so you can. So earlier in the year, they talked about how they wanted to have an open app store principle. They didn't partner, but they were behind the Epic Games and Apple when they had their fight. Like Microsoft backed Epic. And what's interesting is right now you can play Fortnite in the browser using like Bing. You can hop in and play, and it's free to just play, which is using the cloud. But this is something they've been talking about. But they said that they want to do this now. This is why they're doing it, because in the mobile space and the games that they have, and with Game Pass, they want to push that through in their own store. So I thought that was interesting, because I'm like, I never thought. So okay, with me telling you this, and I hope I've given you enough information, I want to know your thoughts on that. That's not what I was thinking, but it was interesting that
that sounds an awful lot like, we're not actually that interested in Activision Blizzard, the thing that Sony's so scared of. We're actually interested in King. Like, that's why we're making this gigantic acquisition, is for the mobile game developer behind Candy Crush. Like,
well, they have said that the two things they were looking at, they actually wanted Blizzard and they wanted King. Those are the two that they wanted.
It's like, basically, Call of Duty can shove it.
Yeah, no, that's what they're pretty much saying, because, it was funny, because they were at the beginning, Sony talking about, no, Call of Duty's this big thing and we don't want Microsoft to have control, la, 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 and then Microsoft's like, well, it's not really that big. We don't, like, giving off these impressions like they don't care that much about it, but they do care. Let's be real. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Sure.
It's a lot of money.
They already make a lot of money off of Call of Duty without owning the studio. And I feel like owning the studio that makes the game puts a lot of pressure on you. I don't know that they would necessarily make more money off of it just from owning it. And I feel like Sony would be able to continue to make money hand over fist off of the franchise. Like, like, that argument never made sense. And that's why I felt like that's the only thing that's the only horse that Sony has in this race. And so that's the thing that they care about.
Yeah.
So that didn't surprise me that they were focused on that. It is weird to me to hear Microsoft emphasize mobile as the reason for their purchase over stuff like World of Warcraft. But I don't know. Actually, it's entirely possible that these days frickin' Hearthstone makes more money than WoW.
Microsoft said they are trying to expand their presence in PC and mobile. That's what they've said about this whole generation. And that's what they went for. They wanted to buy Blizzard and they wanted to buy King. But when they talked to Bobby Kotick like all or nothing. So they're like, okay.
I mean,
obviously stock price was dropped, and
I mean, let's be honest. Without Blizzard and without King, what is Activision? It's Call of Duty. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So,
like, what else do they even have? I'm sure something, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Which is kind of interesting, though.
Huh.
Like, what are your thoughts, like, on that? I mean,
I feel like that's pretty much my thoughts. I'm surprised, but I guess it makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's okay. I'll put it this way. From my perspective, this acquisition never made sense. I never understood why specifically Microsoft was like, okay, from a high level acquisition standpoint, we're going to throw literally tens of billions of dollars at Activision Blizzard to buy this gigantic game publisher. Like, because that's the thing, isn't it? They're not just buying a couple of studios here. They're buying a whole fetching publisher with this. And for them to say, oh yeah, we want to expand our presence in PC and mobile gaming is like, sure, yeah, that would do that, I suppose, but really? Like, that's your motive here? It still doesn't make sense to me. Like, if for them to be like, oh no, look, we want a bunch of mobile games so that we can launch our own app store on mobile devices specifically to sell games to people. I'm like, that doesn't make any less sense than any other part of this acquisition, I suppose. So, okay, more power to you. I mean, again, it just makes Sony look like they don't really have a leg to stand on. Once again, Call of Duty is their only horse in this race. And from a business like fiscal standpoint, it does not make sense for Xbox to buy Activision and then restrict Call of Duty from Sony's platform. Does not make any sense. They would not do it in the near term at all. No way.
I guess I always thought,
I don't know.
like,
it's wild.
Yeah, it would be silly right now for them to take it off PlayStation.
Be dumb.
PlayStation's remarks is like, well, we want to make sure that it stays that way. And I guess in my mind with competition, I'm like, well, then try and stay as the leading platform. So it would be stupid for them to take it off. So Sony, which silly. Like,
honestly, they're doing pretty good. Like, Sony continues to release these gigantic single player, extremely popular experiences on their platform that the only way to play them is to buy a PlayStation. And so everybody buys a PlayStation, and then they're all like, okay, well, I'll just play everything on PlayStation now. So, from what I understand, this generation, the PS5, despite all of the shortages and stuff like that, is still outselling the Xbox, both the Series X and S, by like a factor of 2 to 1. So
is it?
It's quite a bit from what I understand. And so, they're still winning in terms of like selling the most consoles. And that's obviously not totally representative of like, in terms of overall revenue, because Microsoft's gaming studio is also bringing in money from a lot more game sales on other platforms than Sony is, obviously, because Sony's games are made for their platform. And they also have their whole PC gaming division that is just a completely separate thing. And then they've got subscription-based stuff around like Game Pass and that sort of thing. So, it's like just number of consoles sold obviously doesn't tell the whole story here, but in terms of just having the most consoles out there that people are playing games on, and Call of Duty being one of the most popular games in the world, that those two things mean that at least for this generation, it's pretty much guaranteed that Call of Duty ain't going nowhere on Sony's platforms. Doesn't matter who owns it. Like freaking Tim Cook could buy Activision Blizzard, and he'd still have to keep it on Sony's. Like, he could probably take it off the Xbox. He could probably like take Call of Duty off the Xbox or off of Windows or something dumb like that, and it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But he has to keep it on the PlayStation because, gosh dang it, there's just too much revenue being made from that platform. So, I don't know. It's like Sony still doesn't have a leg to stand on, and like I said, this revelation doesn't make any less sense than the reason that I thought they were doing it before. It still doesn't make sense to me, but you do Microsoft, it's your money.
I guess the thing I thought was interesting is they were like, because Apple doesn't allow any other app store.
No, they don't technically, but there's a couple of ways that they could be thinking of working around that. Either they could be going for something, a cloud-based app store, which you access via the browser, in which case Apple can't do anything to restrict you from doing that. So they could do that. It would basically tie into cloud gaming and whatever. They could also be banking on legislation forcing Apple, and for that matter Android, to allow third-party app stores on their platforms. And that legal battle is playing out constantly around the world, and has been for, honestly, it's been playing out since before Epic. Epic was just high profile enough to get a lot of press attention for it. So, this is a legal battle that's been ongoing, and proponents of the, quote unquote open app store kind of holistic view have been making inroads in a lot of ways for years. So they may see it as inevitable that they will be able to put a third-party app store onto iOS and Android in the future, and they're just kind of banking on that. So it could go either way, maybe both. Maybe the near term is some kind of a cloud-based solution, and the long term is they're going to make it a physical app store. Who knows? But I feel like that, like from that perspective, like I can see the reasoning there. I just feel like it's weird that they decided to go for that by buying Activision Blizzard, because they don't necessarily have a ton of experience developing app stores. Like they own the IP for a lot of games, So they'd be getting King's entire catalog in addition to a couple of other mobile games like Call of Duty Mobile and Hearthstone and Diablo Immortal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe they just want games to put in the App Store, because the only App Store that Activision Blizzard has is Battle.net. And that, I'm sorry, if you've ever used that to peruse the Activision catalog of games, it's trash. Like it works. Yeah. It's great for Blizzard, and that's it.
Yep, that's it.
I don't know. This is weird. Yep. That is weird.
It's different. It really is. So that's what I mean. That was part of it. That's like I said. I was kind of more thinking it was interesting. They were trying to put their own app store in iOS and Android, and just how that where their head was with it. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting.
I don't know where their head is with any of this thing, honestly.
No. Hey, but you got your wish list. You wanted Microsoft to buy Blizzard.
I did. That happened so early on in the year, too. I don't even remember what's on the rest of the wish list. I got the one item I was not expecting to get, and gosh dang it, I don't care about the rest.
So that's pretty much all the news for Microsoft or something I want to talk about. I do have a couple more gaming, but we'll leave that till later. Caleb, you got a couple things. Let's get started on that.
I do. Okay, so this past week, listener, Apple had an event. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't. It wasn't actually. It wasn't an event. It was a 10-minute YouTube video. So they have, as of this past week, launched new iPad Pros, a redesigned 10th generation iPad, and a new Apple TV. So the iPads were introduced with a 10-minute video, and everything else just kind of showed up on the Apple store.
And these buy.
Right, yeah, it was, pretty much. So the iPad Pros now feature the M2 processor, and also a hover mode for the pencil. If you are using that as a cursor or whatever, it basically turns it into a mouse, like you use if you have a connected mouse. And if you've used like a Wacom tablet or something like that, then it's like that, So that'll feel familiar. Beyond that, the display and camera hardware appear to be identical. So nothing else has changed. It's just now you get the M2 and hover mode for your Apple Pencil.
Sick.
Now, thankfully, they did not jack up the prices on the line like they did with the iPhone, despite, it's similar amount of updates. And worth noting that the M1 version of the 11-inch iPad Pro, the refurbished version on their store, actually did see price drops that coincided with this launch. So if you're looking for a good deal on an M series iPad Pro, you might actually want to be looking at those refurbished M1 models, because the prices will obviously be quite a bit lower.
Wow. Nice.
Now, more changes happened with the 10th generation iPad. The design was updated to mimic the design of the iPad Air, with the power button Touch ID sensor and an A14 Bionic chip, which is the same as the current version of the iPad Air. It now also has USB-C and a bunch of pretty colors, which they actually are pretty nice colors. It also has a landscape FaceTime camera for the first time in the history of the iPad. So that's cool. It's obviously not Face ID like the iPad Pros,
right? But
you can open it up in landscape mode, and the camera isn't on the side of the display. It's above it. Everybody, and I mean everybody, was pissed off that was not also on the iPad Pros. I don't know of a single person who was all like, oh, it's fine. I use my iPad Pro in portrait all the time. No. You use it in portrait to unlock it. Then you turn it landscape and actually use it. So that's great. A few notable, let's call them concerns with the 10th gen iPad is that it still supports only the first generation Apple Pencil, which remains unchanged from its initial launch. So you may have heard there, you may have already put two and two together, listener, about the disconnect here. I did say that the iPad itself had been updated to USB-C. over Lightning. The Apple Pencil requires a Lightning port to charge. It's the stupid design. Remember that has a little cap on the end and then it plugs into the port on your iPad to charge? That was how Apple designed it, because their design team was, I don't know, sharing whatever it is that the Surface Studio 2 folks were smoking. I don't they were all hanging out in the same room at that time.
Playing poker or something.
Yeah. So yeah, it needs an adapter now to charge on the cable that came in the box with your iPad. That adapter costs $10, and it's basically a female USB-C to a female Lightning, right? So you can plug it into the Apple Pencil on one end, then you have to plug it into a USB-C port or USB-C cable on the other end, which means you can't charge your iPad and the Pencil at the same time if you only have the cable that came in the box with the iPad, and you can't charge your Pencil off of your iPad anymore. Unless you have a male-to-male USB-C adapter. What the fetch, Apple? What are you doing?
Are they just trying to get away from using the new Pencil? I'm trying to think of a logical...
There is no good reason for this. I understand the logic behind let's use the first generation Pencil still, because we don't have to put inductive charging connections on the side of the iPad to charge the thing if we use the first gen Pencil. Second gen Pencil, that's how you charge it, is by sticking it on the side of the iPad and it charges inductively. So I get that, but the decision to then make it basically impossible to charge your Pencil off of your brand new iPad, at all. So me, as a previous generation iPad Pro owner with a first generation Pencil, if I were to buy this iPad, I still have the adapter that came with that iPad that would allow me to plug it into a standard Lightning cable and continue to charge it off of the same cables that obnoxiously continue to charge my phone and that sort of thing. So it's not a big problem for me. But if you're somebody who's new to the iPad and you go and buy one of these things and they're like, oh yeah, and it supports this Pencil, and you take that Pencil home with this iPad, you're going to have a Pencil you can't charge. Apple? So.
Yeah, that's not good.
Also, the 10th gen iPad no longer has a headphone jack. So that's great too. Awesome. Thanks. Just
sweet.
Wow. They did introduce a new 2-part keyboard folio case. It's the Magic Keyboard Folio is what they were calling. And so this basically has a kickstand that sticks onto the back of it and then a keyboard that sticks onto the front. That looks like a big old case of the Nopes at $250. Just don't spend $250 on a keyboard for your sub $500 tablet. That's dumb.
Don't do that.
No, just buy a Bluetooth case from somewhere. Wow. Also, 10th gen iPad now costs, I said sub $500 listener, you may have caught that. Not sub 400, sub 500. Was deliberate. It's now $450 instead of $320.
Oh.
So that's cool. They're still selling the 9th generation iPad on their store for $330 like it was before. And I'm just going to be honest, that one makes a ton more sense.
If you can charge your pen.
Yep, you can charge the Pencil off of it. That's a big plus. No, it's a nice refresh. It's a nice update. It looks very good. The addition of USB-C and the landscape camera, honestly, these are all good things. And then they kind of ruined the sauce by making it only compatible with the first generation Pencil, selling a keyboard case for it that is just stupidly overpriced, and then raising the price of the iPad itself. The thing that made the 9th generation iPad so compelling was that it started at $330. And at that price, absolutely no other tablet on the planet could compete with it in terms of usability, support from the app ecosystem, and just, being a very high quality device. So cool. Thanks Apple for updating that iPad. I really appreciate it. Both of these iPads, I'm so happy that you made a 10-minute video about this.
Yeah.
At least they didn't throw an event. I mean, let's be honest. If this had been an event, I would not be annoyed. I would be frothing at the mouth. Like, there was nothing here to brag about. Why did you try to brag about it for 2 hours on a stage? Okay. The other thing that they updated that was not a part of their video, it just kind of was updated, and they didn't really say anything about it, was the Apple TV. This is indicative of how Apple feels about the Apple TV. So, that's fair. It is actually a redesign from the previous generation. It now starts with 64 gigs of storage for $130, which you may note is down quite a bit from 180, I believe the last generation 4K was. And it now has the A15 Bionic processor and supports HDR10+.
Those are good.
You may note that the A15 Bionic processor is actually a year newer than the A14 Bionic processor in the 10th generation iPad. Just a weird little quirk. I don't know. There's also a 128 gigabyte version of the thing that retails for $150. And if you want Ethernet and Thread support on your Apple TV, you now have to get that one. But like I said, the previous generation that had Ethernet and Thread support was $180. So it's still discounted, and you get double the storage of the top-end version from last gen, and I don't know, it still has the good remote, and it comes with HDR10 Plus support now and a newer processor. Like, honestly, it seems like all in all, pretty good deal. Especially when you consider that the chassis for it is now, considering the updated processor, thinner and fanless. Interesting side note, I did not realize that my Apple TV had a fan. I genuinely had no idea until this announcement came out, and everyone's all like, oh my gosh, they took the fan out of the Apple TV. And I was like, there's a fan in that thing? Okay.
Wow.
I had no idea, but apparently there was a small metal fan in the previous generation of Apple TV, but this is now thinner and does not require the fan. Also, just pièce de résistance. The new Siri remote it's the same remote as the last generation, which was a massive upgrade over the stupid glass-faced piece of trash that launched with the original 4th gen Apple TV. That thing now charges via USB-C.
Hey.
Yep. So, let's keep score here, listener. With the update to the 10th generation iPad, all of the iPads are now charged via USB-C. All of the Macs support USB-C. The Apple TV remote charges via USB-C. And the iPhone 14 is still powered by a Lightning port. So, yeah, there is no excuse for this. Apple, I hate you. But the new Apple TV actually does look pretty nice. So there is that. It is worth noting there is no cable in the box to charge the Siri remote. So you'll have to get your own USB-C cable to charge the thing. Could be better. They could send you a 15-cent cable in the box.
Yeah.
Would not be that big of a deal for them. But yeah, the TV, the thing itself does cost less than last generation. The fact that it charges via USB-C is good. And if you don't have any USB-C cables in your house, listener, get some, please. Like, genuinely.
Yeah.
This is the future. Yeah. Everything is going that direction. You can go buy them at the Dollar Tree. Like, so
you literally can, or your gas station.
Right. Yeah. I feel like maybe there's not really an excuse to not have a USB-C cable at this point. And should Apple have shipped one? Yes. But am I going to be super mad that they didn't? No. Just go get some USB-C cables. You want them.
True. Are you looking into getting this Apple TV?
I might do that. Like, try and sell the old one for like $100 or something like that, and then spend $50 to get the 128 gig version with the newer processor and the better remote. Like, yeah, that actually feels like it might be a worthwhile endeavor. So
yeah,
I'll give it a few months, maybe, just to see. I'll give it a few months to make sure that there aren't like debilitating, horrifying issues with the thing. Just so there was a chassis change and it's smaller now and everything like that. But yeah, I'm interested.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have interested hardware, right?
Yes, no, it is. I mean, I'm definitely not buying any of the iPads that they. I actually might at this point go buy an M1 iPad Pro.
Yeah,
because the prices will be coming down quite a bit. So yeah,
yes.
That's good.
Now's the time.
And then last piece of Apple news, because I am still the Apple guy. I swear it's not just because Landon isn't here. macOS and iPadOS now have launch dates. Those are slated to launch on October 24th, which, as of this recording, listener, is in the morning. Like it's tomorrow. So it has launched by the time you are listening to this episode. So there you go. All right. So I'm going to actually move on to some Microsoft news. This is stuff that, okay. It's kind of Apple news. It's kind of Microsoft news. It's a weird hybrid, but this is stuff that came out around the same time as the Surface event. There is going to be additional support on Microsoft's end for several Apple services. The first is that you will be getting dedicated apps for Apple Music and TV Plus, as well as photo app integration for iCloud Photos on Windows coming up. So Windows 11 specifically. TV Plus currently is only available on Windows through the web portal, and Music currently requires iTunes, which in the year of our Lord 2022 just feels wrong.
It really does. It's a constant state of embarrassment, correct?
Yep. iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment. Though it is worth noting now that this is in fact the last basic holdout of iTunes. So this should spell the death of iTunes forever. With, I guess, it may stick around to provide a music store on Windows. Maybe they may just roll that functionality into the music app the way that they have literally everywhere else. So yeah, I think iTunes is officially gone, and I feel like we may actually have to edit the intro to the podcast because iTunes can't be a constant source of embarrassment if it's
what's after this. Man, just make a note of that one, Landon.
Yeah. Yep. Wild times. Also, Music that just launched on the Xbox. Apple Music did. So,
yep,
that's also a thing. If you are an Apple Music subscriber who owns an Xbox, I feel like this Venn diagram for those two is probably pretty small overlap, but oh well.
Well, I mean,
I guess there's probably plenty of iPhone owners that have Xboxes. I just feel like most of those folks would probably be paying for Spotify, not Apple Music. I don't know.
True. I don't know. I mean, you got everyone they're trying to make everything sync, with Apple coming out with all their bundles. What's their bundle? You have it.
The Apple One or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, the Apple thing,
I pay for it. I don't know.
I mean, people play games. I mean, and Microsoft's trying to just make everything on whatever they have, any hardware that just, do whatever. I mean,
yeah. Well, and Apple more and more is pushing cross-compatibility of their services out into the world, I think in preparation for the inevitable fact that they're going to be forced to allow third-party app stores on their platforms. So they're not going to be able to rely on that income, and so they're going to need to have all their services income coming in from as many different sources as possible.
Right.
Which I suspect is probably going to coincide with them launching their own flipping app store on Android. Possibly on Windows as well. It's coming. It's going to be weird.
That is weird. Now that you say the reverse of that, when we've been talking earlier, I'm like, huh.
It's that is 100%. They are holding out. They're pushing this legal battle for as long as they can so that they can prepare for this. They know they're going to lose it eventually. Eventually, legislation is going to be passed that is just going to force them to allow Tim Sweeney to put his Epic Game Store onto iOS. And as soon as that happens, you can bet your boots that the Apple App Store is going to launch on Android. Like, it's just gonna happen.
Right.
And
does Google... I may not know as much. Does Google do the same thing? Because if I remember, doesn't Samsung have their own app store and Amazon have their own app store on Android?
Google does not restrict you from sideloading apps the way that Apple does. And so you can basically sideload an app store onto an Android phone. And then you can install apps through that app store, and those apps are basically sideloaded, like all of them.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's kind of how,
sense.
Google doesn't advertise that functionality. They don't they officially, they support it, but they kind of don't officially support it, So it's kind of on Amazon or Samsung or whoever to make sure that their app stores work. And Google is just doing everything that they can to say, no, this is not the official use case, and we will not be held responsible for anything that you do over here. So
makes sense.
That's where they sit. It's not technically impossible, but it's not officially supported. So,
gotcha.
All right. Now, talking about officially supported, Microsoft's new Surface lineup does not officially support this next piece of news. I don't know. That was a terrible segue. Intel has launched their 13th generation processors. That happened just this past week.
You literally called it.
Now, the interesting thing about this is that typically, so what happened is they released the review embargo for reviews of the processors on the same day as the chips went on sale. So they'd been on pre-order for a while before that, and then they went on sale at the same day as the review embargo lifts. Usually when a company does that, it's because they're trying to hide something. Turns out what Intel was trying to hide with these 13th generation processors is the best value proposition of a processor in literally years. So I don't know why they were trying to hide that. I feel like they might have gotten more day one sales if they had let the review embargo go earlier. I don't know. Point is, the 13900K just about matches the 7950X from AMD in productivity, like across the board. They are trading blows to within a couple of percentage points of each other on basically every productivity test. And the 13900K beats it in gaming. Not necessarily by a huge amount. You're talking like 5%, maybe 7%, maybe as much as like 12% depending on the game. But on average, you're kind of more in that like 5 to 8% range. It's not a huge boost in frame rates. However, it does cost $80 less than the 7950X. So it's cheaper to buy and technically performs better in games. So that's not nothing. What's even more not nothing is the fact that the 13600K absolutely creams the 7600X dollar for dollar. It is just like they're price competitive with each other, like within $50 in terms of the price. And the 13600K, I suppose maybe not surprisingly, because in addition to having the 6 performance cores that matches the 7600X's 6 performance cores, it also now has like 8 efficiency cores to just kind of help out with additional processing on the side. And so, yeah, the 13600K in terms of like productivity performance, it's not even, it's like almost twice as fast as the 7600X in certain use cases. And then in terms of gaming, like it's not quite as big of a gap, but you're talking like a 15 to 20% average delta in favor of the 13600K, and they cost about the same. So, when we were talking about the 7000 series processors, I said that the 7600X was probably going to be like a really good value proposition in terms of performance to dollar for this generation. I was wrong, like super duper wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition to that, the AM5 platform is brand new, requires DDR5 and a whole bunch of new motherboards, none of which, like, we have not seen the cheap motherboards that AMD promised. Those just haven't appeared yet. Even the B650 motherboards, they're just not as cheap as AMD promised. So you have to buy a whole new platform to go with your 7600X, and that platform costs more than Intel's platform because their 13th generation processors are backwards compatible with the 12th generation motherboards. Just give them a BIOS update and you're all good to go. And because of that backwards compatibility, which isn't necessarily surprising for Intel, they'll usually go 2 processor generations with a single socket kind of thing, and then they'll, so Intel's backwards compatibility is typically not as good as AMD did with AM4, but just the way that this coincided, where AMD is updating their platform right in the middle of Intel supporting their platform from one year to the next, just has not worked out in their favor, because Intel also supports DDR4 RAM on their 12th generation process motherboards. So you can get a year-old motherboard that uses RAM that has been around for like almost a decade at this point and is widely available everywhere, to go with your new processor that costs a little bit less than AMD's and outperforms it by like almost 50%, depending on the game that you're playing. Yeah, the 13600K is a fantastic deal. That processor is, hands down, I feel like that thing is just, it's curb stomping the middle of AMD's line in 7,000 chips. Like, yeah, at the bleeding top end, the 7950X and the 13900K, there's probably going to be a little bit more of a trade there, but even then, it still feels like the 13900K is the better value processor. So, gall dang, Intel showed up and flipping competed this year. This impressive.
Is good.
Yeah.
This is really good.
Now, the processors are not totally free from complaint. They run even hotter than last year, so that is something to note.
They've always had that problem, though.
They really do. The 13900K, like we just talked about, how AMD's AM5 platform basically exists because they were just sick and tired of the power and energy limitations present on AM4, and so they're like, no, we have to get rid of these bottlenecks. And so AMD's processors also saw a significant jump in their TDP and their power usage this year. However, not to be outdone, Intel released the 13th generation processors and made another jump of their own. So the 13900K will jump to 100 degrees Celsius, even on water, just to hit its max turbo right at the beginning of a heavy workload. And overall, that chip can, in sustained workloads, suck back almost 400 watts. Them's GPU power numbers, okay? Like, that's like your GPU is an entire computer inside of your computer that tends to draw between like up to 300 watts. And new GPUs, like the ones that we complain about, are super power hungry, like, the high-end RTX 30 series cards and the 4090, which is actually just a beast all unto itself.
Yeah.
Those draw about 400 watts, and we whine about that. And here's a CPU that by itself is drawing like 350 watts? Intel, what? So...
They're trying to compete, man.
I mean, holy crap. Like, if you are buying a 13900K, all I can say is you need the best cooler that you can possibly get your hands on. I'm not talking about, like, do not skimp on your cooler for this thing. There is no budget conscious cooler option for the 13900K. You are buying the Noctua NHD15 tower cooler, the one that comes with the 2 fans and has the dual stacks of fins that like stick off of your motherboard almost a foot. Those things are gigantic. You're either getting that or a 360 millimeter radiator, like or a custom water cooled loop. I don't know. That's what you're doing when you buy the 13900K, just to be absolutely clear. You're not going to be able to buy this thing and kind of squeak by on like a Cooler Master Evo 212 or something like that. Just no.
Right.
Wow. And in fact, even the 13600K is very power hungry and it produces a ton of heat. So if you've been, kind of just phoning it in with your Cooler Master Evo 212, great up to this point, but you're probably going to need to update to something a little bit beefier, just saying. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. That being said, this is still the most competitive that Intel has been since like Ryzen launched, basically. I guess maybe since second generation Ryzen launched. But yeah, really impressive showing from Intel on this one. And maybe
very good.
It's a very interesting cherry on the cake here, but for the past almost a decade, AMD has held a really interesting crown. The highest clocked processor in the world.
Really?
Which was, shockingly, an AMD Bulldozer-based FX 8000 series chip from back in the day. Those things were trash, but somebody managed to overclock one of those to 8.7 gigahertz.
Oh,
so that was beat by somebody on a 13900K just this past week. They got it up to 8.8 gigahertz. So, dadgum. Obviously, that's on liquid nitrogen. So, like, obviously, you're not gonna see anything like that out of your Intel processors, listener. Just to be clear,
heat your house.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, that was Intel's launch. It went pretty darn well for them, and they got this nice little cherry on the top of, hey, we finally beat an FX 880 or 8650 or whatever those. Like, good job, you beat the Bulldozer processors from AMD, which were kind of DOA.
I want to say, though, like, it is good to hear. Like, it really is, because we want the competition. You've been asking for it. We've all been asking for it.
I have been loving the past year. Like, 12th generation was actually competing pretty well with 5000 Ryzen 5000 series. And the fact that, like, Ryzen 7000 series was immediately eclipsed by 13th gen. Oh, so sweet. I actually love this. This is what competition tastes like. It's amazing. Now, interesting little tidbit. AMD seems to have strategically let leak details about CPU updates that are expected to come at CES at the beginning of 2023. So has anybody ever heard of 3D V-Cache? This is the thing that AMD stuck onto the top of a single CPU from last generation and instantly rocketed that thing to the best gaming PC in the world. Okay? In fact, that processor tends to compete pretty darn well in gaming tasks with the new 7000 series and 13th generation chips, though it turns out that only actually applies in cases where the games are technically GPU bound, which means that you're going to see it, like the 5800X 3D will compete pretty well on every graphics card on the market except the 4090. So unless you've dropped $1,600 on a 4090, the 5800X 3D is still a really good bargain, a really good argument to be made for a gaming PC because of that 3D V-Cache. AMD can stick that on any processor they want. Like, there's nothing restricting them from doing that. And so we're kind of expecting at CES to see 3D V-Cache enabled versions of the Ryzen 7000 series chips, probably in a bid to reclaim the gaming crown in particular, but most likely they will see boosts across the entire range of productivity tasks, which should bring the 7950X and the 7900X, those should be beating out the 13900K again. And it will probably bring the 5700X into realms of actual competing with the 13700K. I highly doubt that the 7600X is going to be able to compete with the 13600K even with 3D V-Cache enabled, just because of the extra cores on the 13600K. So that's still probably going to be the best bang for your buck for this generation. But who knows? Maybe AMD will prove me wrong. Intel sure as crap proved me wrong this past week. So
it's true.
I'm happy.
Right.
It's great.
That's awesome.
I love this competition. So yeah, that's all the fun CPU news and stuff like that, which is just CPU market right now is so awesome. Should I talk about GPUs? Those are
I don't know.
Those are less fun.
They really are. Just let's do it. Let's get into this. Right.
So I'm gonna move us in the direction of gaming a little bit here. This is kind of good news, but I'm still not happy about it. Nvidia has quote unquote unlaunched the RTX 4080 12GB version, aka the RTX 4070. Now, there's a couple of different takes on this. Either the community turned out to not be as stupid as Nvidia thought we were, or larger market conditions turned out to, not really support the existence of this 12 gig version of the 4080. But the fact that the community turned out to not be as stupid as they thought, or the fact that the larger market conditions turned out to agree with the community, does not make me less angry with Nvidia for even trying in the first place. So not out of the doghouse here, Nvidia. Like, I'm glad you did it, because there are people who would have made stupid decisions that they would have later regretted based off of your stupid marketing copy over this. And I'm glad that's not going to happen. But I'm still not pleased with the company that thought they were going to get away with it in the first place. So There you go. On that note, Radeon 7000 series graphics cards are we have an announcement date for them, essentially. November 3rd. We're going to be getting some details on what the Radeon 7000 series is going to look like. Now, I would just like to point out something that is going to suck for the next year in particular. And hopefully by the end of this next year, AMD will have figured out how they're going to get around this going forward. The Radeon 7000 series and the Ryzen 7000 series are going to coincide. And the way that AMD has been naming their graphics cards, obnoxiously, they've had their 6600, they've had their 6700 and their 6500, and that's going to match up pretty well with 7600 and the 7700X processors. They even will probably launch a 7900 graphics card and possibly a 7950 graphics card to compete with the rumored 4090 Ti. Now, the only difference in terms of numbering between these things is going to be the fact that at the end of the graphics cards, it will say XT, whereas at the end of the processors, it either won't say anything or it'll say X. That's the difference between these things. So, yes, tech naming continues to be awful, and AMD flipping just... If they really expect me to say Radeon or Ryzen before every one of these numbers, gosh dang it, I don't want to. It takes so much longer.
Yes, it does.
Good times. And they both start with R. They're both about the same length. I will 100% at some point in the next year screw up and say the Radeon 7950X and mean the Ryzen 7950X. Like, that's going to happen. So just plan on that, listener. It'll be fun, I'm sure. So There you go. That's my tech news for this week.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and let's get into some gaming, shall we? So let's talk about controllers. It's the holidays. People are needing their controllers. Well, let's first talk about Sony. Sony's PS5 DualSense Edge. This is the controller that is their elite controller, I guess you can call it. It launches on January 26th for $199. So,
boy, bet they're real disappointed they couldn't get that out before Christmas.
Yeah, January 26th just seems a weird date.
Yeah. Feel like that has to be because of some kind of delay somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. I think something, but yeah, so I think I've heard a lot of people are excited for this on the PlayStation side, so which is cool. Along with that, Xbox, they have reintroduced their design labs for their controller, and they actually have added their Elite Series 2 controller to be designed.
Oh.
So you can actually, before you couldn't, it was only for regular controllers.
Yeah.
You can just pick the colors, pick all this. Now you can do your Elite controller.
Oh.
And you can do all sorts of stuff, do the engravings, do all that. You ought to check it out. It's actually pretty cool. They've added more colors, more things like that. And obviously it will be more expensive than just buying a Elite Series 2 controller outright. But it's the season for controllers. So both Xbox and PlayStation are releasing these. Xbox did also release a regular controller. They love to release controllers. Let's just say that. They unveiled their Lunar Shift Special Edition. It is not an Elite controller, but it is cool colors. So let's move on from the controller side of things. We had already talked about the next generation game store they want to have on there for Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
There's an October update for Xbox. It is out, and it adds the option to mute your startup sounds. So if you are connected to a surround sound and you in the middle of the night and you want to play some Xbox, when you turn it on, it doesn't do that big old wah sound. You can turn it off. And you can also adjust your TV volume through your HDMI CEC through your controller for your Xbox. So you can actually have that. So cool.
Yep.
That's kind of the most notable thing. They're always bringing features, which is cool, bringing all sorts of features to the consoles on there. So Phil Spencer, he likes to hide things in photos or things that he does. I don't know if you've seen this. Did you see this newest, latest, greatest thing?
I don't think so.
So he decided to, on his shelf that he has that everyone likes to look at, he puts in gaming things, and people are always analyzing like, oh, does that mean Kojima's coming? Is this, and all these things he places.
Right.
You know. Well, people actually found out or saw a mini little Xbox series. It was like in a shape like this with a little antenna sticking out of it on the top.
So the streaming stick,
the Streambox. What was interesting about this is a lot of people found this and started reposting like, "Hey, what is this? What is this? What is this?" Well, all of a sudden, the actual Xbox Twitter got back and said, "Hey, boss, quit putting our old prototypes in your photos."
Huh.
So it is they're testing prototypes, an old prototype of the cloud gaming, whatever it is. So
okay.
So yeah, it was just a fun little thing. So anytime this is his reputation now, because before at the beginning, he hid the action before this Series S was announced. He had it in back of him when he was talking to people, and nobody noticed it.
Oh man!
Until like later,
yeah,
like he hides stuff in the back just cause. And so that's whenever he posts something or does something, people are just like,
yeah, now they analyze.
Zooming in and looking, and he does that. So
oh, that's fun. I like Phil Spencer, man, good guy.
Phil is good. He's a good guy. I've always he's a good for Xbox, and
yeah,
I'm happy being on this ecosystem. I really enjoy him quite a bit. PlayStation, well, I guess not. How can I say this? Companies that are making exclusives for PlayStation. So supposedly there was supposed to be a Sony PlayStation event this week, but Sony PlayStation, okay, they didn't. But then all their exclusive people that were making exclusive things released trailers. But not an exclusive Sony event, because that would go against their argument against Activision Blizzard merger, because so they didn't say, but anyway. So so Final Fantasy 16, the exclusive to Sony PlayStation.
Yes. Well, fancy that.
Anyway, I'll quit doing that. It's just funny stuff. No, Final Fantasy 16, they did an announcement trailer, a pretty big trailer. It looks interesting. If you are into Final Fantasy, this is totally your jam. Into those games, this is totally it for you on there. They also, Silent Hill 2?
Yes.
The remake that they're doing. They had a trailer for that as well. That's just also a Sony exclusive. They had that out announced. So if you are a Silent Hill fan, there you go. More stuff. They're kind of on this remaster kick.
Yeah.
For a lot of their games and things like that. So this is just in their wheelhouse. They're just remastering it. So,
and I will say that from one perspective, it's kind of like, why? But also there's a lot of really great old games that your nostalgia glasses make them look a lot better than they actually looked and that sort of thing.
Yes.
And so it's kind of nice to basically like, oh, here's Resident Evil 4, except it looks as good as you thought it did.
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff like that.
Your mind does play tricks on you
Oh,
because I've done that to some games that have been remastered. I'm like, oh wow, this does look pretty good. So, for example, like Halo, I'm like, this.
Oh yeah,
this really does look like how I remembered it. And then you push the button that takes you back to the old graphics, and you're like, whoa!
Yes. I did that. Oh my heck, I did that in the Master Chief Collection a little while ago. Yep. I'm just playing along, and I'm all like, you know what? This looks good. This looks okay, even by today's standards. Good job, Bungie. And then I accidentally found the button to switch back to the old graphics. Did not know what it was. I was just kind of button mashing, and I pushed it. I was like, whoa, what the... Oh my gosh, the lighting is so bad. I can't see anything. And it's, the new version is way more atmospheric. Oh, and then there was... Like, I was
Did
just
you watch
on...
the cinematics?
Right. I was on YouTube, just like... I can't even remember, just scrolling, watching, whatever. And I saw a Halo cinematic, and I'm like, oh, hey, that must be from like Halo 5 or something like that. Looks real nice. And I opened it up and I watched it, and I'm like, I don't remember this part of the story in Halo 5. Aren't some of these characters like dead by the time Halo 5 happens? Yeah. And I started looking through the comments, and they're all like, oh yeah, Halo 2. And I'm like, whoa, dang, the Halo 2 cinematics look way better than I thought they did. No, it was the remaster, man.
It was the remaster.
That is like a full-on fetching movie in terms of the quality of that. Like, that's like Pixar doesn't make stuff that looks that good.
They were pretty good. What's interesting is you can actually, you can cycle through those too.
Oh yeah,
in the Master Chief. So if you're playing Master Chief, but I think you have to be already in whichever mode before you hit the cinematic.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So if you want to see the old cinematic, you have to make sure you're in the old graphics, and they'll do it.
I'm going to be honest, I don't want to see the old cinematic. I'm sorry. Those Halo 2 cinematics looked gorgeous. Like, I'm sitting there like, this is the version of Halo that I want to exist, Exactly. Let's forget about the old one. So, like, I kind of appreciate when remasters of really good games that were kind of held back by their graphics or their art direction or something like that, when those pop up, I'm usually like, okay. Like, I'll take this. And I feel like Silent Hill 2 is actually one of those, like, absolutely. The fact that they didn't remaster the original Silent Hill, they went to Silent Hill 2, which basically everybody agrees is a far superior game and is a very good, like, classic horror game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, like, that's the one to remaster kind of thing. So, props. I give them props for the remasters they're selecting, at least over on Sony's side of thing. They're doing a pretty good job there. There are some game publishers that are not doing such a good job, but Sony's doing okay.
Yeah. I mean, so I think it's pretty good because they did the remaster of a game I didn't play, but everyone played. Is it The Last of Us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because they got their TV show that's coming. They got The Last of Us 2 that's out, then they remastered. So, and I think it's cool because, you want to go back and replay those. Like, I kind of want to go back and play Half-Life, but in that someone that converted all Half-Life 1 into, was it Black Mesa? Is that the mod or whatever? And
can I tell you, actually, that is the way to play the original Half-Life. It's so much better.
So, cool stuff. Really good stuff coming. I mean, guys, through whatever platform you're on, now that we're kind of out of the pandemic, people are getting back to work, we're going to see loads of games.
Yes. And hopefully they will all be launching better than Cyberpunk.
True.
That's the standard here, I feel like.
Yes.
Is it better than Cyberpunk at launch? Okay. You cleared the bar.
I feel bad because now that it's
it's a meme. Like
it's a meme, a standard. Like, is it better than this? It, what was the game before that had a standard? It's like Crysis. Like, this is a good computer, but can it run Crysis? Like, but Cyberpunk's at the completely other end of that spectrum.
And what's funny about that is that, like, from graphics perspective, graphics horsepower, that is actually what Cyberpunk 2077 is. It's the new Crysis. When you've got a big, beefy computer, it's can it run Cyberpunk? Can you crank everything in Cyberpunk, turn on the full ray tracing, and set it at 4K and get a playable frame rate? And to date, the only graphics card that can manage that is the 4090. And from
wow.
Like it is worth noting, actually, I didn't mention this when we were talking about Nvidia, listener, because I'm still angry at Nvidia, but the 490 actually performs way better than I was giving it credit for. Based off of Nvidia's announcement slides for the reviews of the card, it turns out that it actually does, in rasterized, non-ray traced, no DLSS, whatever performance, there are some games it is 50% better than the 3090.
Oh, wow.
Like,
okay.
It's a generational improvement of up to 50% in some cases. And generally speaking, it's at least 25% better than anything the 3090 could kick out. So the 4090 is a bonkers powerful graphics card and does draw, can draw up to 600 watts if you've got all the power connectors plugged in and stuff like that. So, I'm still angry at Nvidia and whatnot, but they weren't lying in their charts. That being said, even with the 4090, if you take Cyberpunk 2077, set it to 4K, crank everything up to the highest detail levels, and turn on ray tracing with no DLSS, you're getting 60 FPS. Playable, yes. But spectacularly fast? No. Even with a 4090, this is a graphics card that is 2 generations newer than what the game launched on. So yeah, it's definitely, it's Crysis in that way. But it's also the benchmark for, did we launch an unfinished game?
Yeah.
And it managed to take that interesting position over from No Man's Sky. And No Man's Sky kind of managed to recover over time. I'm not sure Cyberpunk is going to be given that chance. I feel like CD Projekt is going to ditch it faster than they can fix it. So
interesting. I've heard a lot of people have got waited for this next update to fix everything, and B have gone back. And so I don't know. I've heard, and that Netflix series that came out, I heard a lot that reinvigorated the Cyberpunk stuff. So
yeah, I am. It's very much on my wish list on GOG.com, and I'm waiting for it to drop below a 50% off sale. It is basically constantly at least half off, but it's just interesting to me that Cyberpunk 2077, which is a much newer game than The Witcher 3, costs about the same. If The Witcher 3 is 50% off and you can get it for $25, then so is Cyberpunk. $25.
Yeah, okay.
And if there isn't a sale and Cyberpunk costs $50, so does The Witcher 3. Still, it's 8 years later or something like that, and people still want to play that game as much as they want to play Cyberpunk 2077. So
true.
Kind of sucks, but anyways, lots of games will be launching. We're going to hope for a little bit more of the Crysis version of Cyberpunk and a little bit less of the No Man's Sky version of Cyberpunk.
Right, right. Well, and I did want to mention something that we used to always mention, but kind of faded away. But I'm gonna bring up the hype back for this. Overwatch 2.
Oh yeah,
October 25th. They are doing a new Junkenstein's Revenge, except it's the Bride of Junkenstein.
Yeah. I might actually log in and play that one.
You might have to.
I've played 3 matches of Overwatch 2, and I will admit I probably wasn't doing myself any favors when I immediately logged in and tried to play the new support hero. She's
different.
She is not a support hero. She's a DPS with healing. That's like saying that Soldier 76 is a support hero because he can drop his healing station on the ground. I don't care who you are. She's a DPS.
No. Yeah.
She's
those headshots.
She's basically Genji with healing. Oh my heck. So I don't know how to play her. I do not know how to play her. I made it maybe 3/4 of the way through that match, and I was all like, you know what? I want to feel like I'm actually contributing to my team in some meaningful way, and I switched over to Lucio.
Wow. It's very interesting. the meta, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've played a few games, mostly with the PC/console combination.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll get on the console, and that meta is completely different, obviously. But what's really interesting is when a console player plays with PC, and I found this out, and this might be interesting to you, listener, if you do the same thing I do. If you find yourself sucking a lot more and not hitting your shots, well, this is why. If a console player is playing with PC, they turn your aim assist off. Just off. So there was one day, so I was sitting there, so for a while I was sitting there and I'm like, for the longest time, I'm like, am I getting old? Like, are my reflexes getting bad? Like, I sat there, I was so like confused. I'm like, I am not hitting my shots. What is going on? But then like the next day I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a daily or two. And I would rock people, rocket, like headshot. But then like I'd hop on with my brothers that are, whoever that's on a PC. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, it got down to the point where I'm just like, I'm just going to play Reinhardt or Brigitte. Like, but I would play Reinhardt and it was fun. And I think I'm pretty decent at, with Ryan if I have a decent healer with me or at least something, and it's a lot of fun. But just so you know, if you're feeling like when you're playing with your PC friends and you're just not hitting your shots, your aim assist is turned off. And Blizzard did that on purpose. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to just eliminate it. Yeah. So if you're playing that way, that's what happened. If
you crossplay on console, you're going to really get to feel the PCMR whole deal.
Like, I will tell you though, it definitely prepares you for going back to the console pool. Because like I said, I was wrecking fools.
That's fair.
Like wrecking people. Like, it's those moments of like, I am so good at this game. And then I get on with PC and then I'm like, I'm not hitting anything.
Okay, if I can't
just
play
so
this.
you know, that happens. And I found this out later. So, but then again, we're going to start playing the PvE stuff as they come, and that's going to be a lot more fun. So.
Oh, heck yeah. Let's be honest. That's what I'm actually waiting for in this game.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the PvE to launch next year so that I can just buy that and then play that game. Like, that's kind of
right.
That's kind of where I'm at. Overwatch 2 doesn't feel different enough from Overwatch 1 so far for me to really be super interested in it. But I'm going to try the new Junkenstein thing because it's PvE and it's new. So, yeah.
And it's fun. So, and we're going to have to see if we can try to get together and do that and maybe stream.
Yes.
And
that would be good. It'd be good.
But that's actually all the news that I have. This gaming news. Do you have any more gaming news you want to talk about?
I don't. That's it.
No. All right. Well, man, we finally made it.
Yeah, we got it. There's a lot over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, we missed last week. Sorry about that, listener, for cramming all this in, but it's also that time.
It really is. Holy cow.
Time. And with the schedules of everyone just launching things here and there, it just happens. So,
yep.
We appreciate you listening to us. If you actually want to get hold of us, you can at our website at callingallplatforms.com. Also, you can get a hold of us on our social media platforms. You can also, if you'd like to, you can support us on Patreon at our Patreon on there. And if you want to check out our YouTube channel, haven't had anything recently on there, but hopefully we'll get some Junkenstein stuff on there
that'd be
soon.
Good. That'd be good.
That'd be fun to put on there. You can look at that on YouTube at Calling All Platforms on there. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.